This is a severe weather alert from WWL Weather, sponsored by Egan Insurance Agency.
Your time is 9:10 this morning as we track a new severe thunderstorm warning moving into the New Orleans metro. Torrential rain, strong winds, and even some small hail impacting a large portion of JP, now moving into Orleans. So you can see this flashing yellow box. This is going to be your severe thunderstorm warning. It includes St. Bernard as well. It goes all the way out to New Orleans East, and it includes really the entire New Orleans metro. So luckily this thing is moving. That's going to limit the flood risk some, but the rain is so heavy that we're also going to be watching for street flooding to try to start up here over the next 10 to 30 minutes or so. So it's moving at a good rate, but it is likely producing some strong winds. National Weather Service says they're going to let this severe thunderstorm warning go until 10:15 a.m. They're saying this is moving 35 miles an hour, could have 50 to 60 mile per hour winds on this leading edge, and then also producing maybe hail up to the size of pennies. So the hail size is not a big concern, but certainly heavy rain, lightning, and the strong wind gust here as this pushes in. So if you're watching me in New Orleans, it is just now moving into the heart of the city from City Park to Uptown. The worst of it is certainly over in Kenner, River Ridge, and into Metairie here. Just torrential rain. Once again, this is moving though, so that may limit the flood risk some, but the other risk is going to be for damaging wind gusts. Let me zoom out very quickly because you can see it extends from the lakefront on the North Shore. The causeway is going to be a rough drive right now, and then it extends all the way down into Lower Jefferson towards Lafitte this morning. That heavy rain it will continue too. So again, the rainfall rates are something impressive. I want to show you the tower cam. Can we show the tower cam south shot if possible, the other one if you can get it? It shows a dramatic scene here as the shelf cloud starts to move in. There you can see. So what you're looking at here is the leading edge of these thunderstorms, that front line I was just showing you. This is where all the heavy rain in, but the strong winds are pushing out. You get a shelf cloud, and that's why it's smooth on the upper end. So the winds are rushing out and the air is getting pushed back up on the cloud, and you just get an amazing looking shelf cloud. But this right here, that is heavy, heavy rain, maybe penny-sized hail, and also lightning and thunder. It's got that ominous green color to it, which is just a sign that the rain is on the heavy side. Now, the good news is the tornado threat with this line of storms doesn't look to be a big problem, just the way the winds are oriented right now. So that's the good news as it stands right now. We got the whole weather team here. We got Alexa over here. We got Alexandra keeping an eye on things. Alexa, are you seeing anything on your end with regard to maybe the winds gusting in the metro area?
You know what? Some new information actually just came in. A flash flood warning has just been issued for parts of the South Shore because of the heavy rain that has been falling. So we'll be watching for heavy rain that could induce some pretty bad flooding and for parts of the South Shore with that ongoing heavy rainfall. Rainfall rates anywhere from 4 to 5 inches per hour in a few spots. So if you click on a few areas, you can see over 2.5 inch per hour rainfall rates. Some of the worst parts of the storm, though, could be producing rainfall up to 4 inches per hour. So some seriously heavy rain. And like Peyton mentioned, some pretty strong wind gusts happening right now across the South Shore. So the heavy rain and the strong storms will continue throughout the morning, impacting the New Orleans metro. Now, I'll pull up our wind graphic to just get you an idea about what these winds are doing right now. As you can see behind me, you can see the winds just behind me, but I'll pull up on the screen what you can see. If I can pull up max 2 here. And that'll show you that some of the wind gusts in Jefferson Parish, 47 mile per hour gusts. If you can take max 2, you can see those wind gusts across the South Shore. Sustained winds 20 miles per hour, some gusts close to 50 miles per hour in a few spots. So that's what we're dealing with now. Some very strong winds up to maybe 40 to 50 miles per hour from these thunderstorms. So we're going to be tossing things over to Leah now. She's got an update on your traffic report in just a few moments. But really the biggest thing is going to be the wind and the heavy rain and the frequent lightning within these storms that are impacting the South Shore and the metro area now. Leah.
Yeah, so we've been watching back-to-back accidents all across the metro area. Of course, that is really tied to that rain that's been falling all through the night and into the early portions of this morning. Whenever that rain comes down, it kind of gets that oil, that little thin layer of oil on the roads, that gets that a little wet, and we see just that slickness, and cars are just slipping inside and everywhere. We've seen that happen this morning in Poplarville. But we do want to take you to a live look at our cameras right here. This is a live look at the Bonnie Carey Spillway. You see definitely that rain coming down. Just kind of off in the distance, you can see some of those cars had their hazard lights on as they're trying to navigate through these conditions outside right now. Definitely something you want to give yourself some extra time to ride through. If we do want to go ahead and switch over to graphics, we are following another accident this morning. This one is on I-12. This is on the eastbound side of I-12. I-12 right near exit I-55. We've been watching this for the last hour and some change. As you can see, that rain radar back off in the distance there, as that traffic still continues to try to navigate through there. This accident has the left lane blocked. As you can see, emergency crews still there on scene, putting folks back about 40 minutes just to make their way through this stretch of I-12. The best alternate option for you is going to be 190, but we still have some congestion on that route as well. So again, this rain is really causing a lot of issues across the metro area. Let's send it back over to Peyton and see kind of what he's tracking right now, because the rain has really been causing a lot of accidents all throughout the morning.
Yeah, been a mess, Leah. The severe thunderstorm warning, the rain also. I'm clocking some winds right now on our terminal radar out of MSY, gusting over 60 miles an hour perhaps across parts of the city. These are damaging winds, so we'll need to keep an eye on our power outages across the New Orleans area as well. So when I put this in motion, you can see just how much these storms have ramped up in the past 10 minutes. So the strongest of the winds right now, according to radar, are blowing through parts of City Park and Gentilly soon, Uptown. You've got it blowing into the Quarter and the CBD very soon. Look at this big swath of strong winds over the West Bank, so could be gusting upwards of 60 miles an hour. Wherever you see these brighter yellows is where the damaging wind threat is going to be at its highest. And so currently it looks like that damaging wind threat is actually going to be a little bit behind the leading edge. Oftentimes the leading edge is where the worst winds are. Radar is saying it may be a little bit further down. Some of these winds are mixing down to the surface is what we call it. And so you're getting heavy wind, you're getting torrential rain, and a lot of lightning and thunder as well. And I'm looking at all of our tower cams here. Things have really just gone downhill across the entire metro area here fairly soon. This is a live look 500 feet up. I was just showing you the shelf cloud. It's long gone because the worst of the rain has now moved into that part of the area. When we look at our metro winds here, we were talking about we gusted to 47 about 10 minutes ago out at Kenner. Now the storm has increased in intensity since then, so that's why we're thinking winds could be gusting upwards of 60 miles an hour across the New Orleans metro right now. So winds are rocking and rolling. You've got the heavy rain. None of our sites are reporting anything substantial right now, but it's one of those things. Have they updated? We don't really know for sure. So we'll wait for these to update and keep an eye on our winds here across the New Orleans metro. But we've got two problems right now. We've got strong winds, we've got heavy rain. So the flash flood warning is ongoing and the strong winds are ongoing as well. Now the winds and the strong rain or the heavy rain are not going to linger for hours and hours. We do think this is moving at a pretty good rate at about 50 miles an hour, but boy, it is coming down right now, all the way down to Jean Lafitte up into the heart of New Orleans. Now, if you're out in New Orleans East, you have probably 5 minutes before the winds and the rain really start to pick up out there. But for everyone else, it's coming down, and our power just flashed here in the French Quarter. So it just shows you, we may be on, are we on backup power right now? I don't know. It's rare when the power goes out in the French Quarter. So let's just put it that way, that if we are seeing power outages, we are on backup power. Okay, and I don't know if the producer can get, if we can check in on the power outages pretty soon just to see what this is doing, but yeah, it looks like this is a big wind problem at the moment, so maybe this hasn't updated just yet. You're seeing a lot of green there, but power has been flickering here in the French Quarter, which is telling because, as you know, the Quarter is all underground. On the West Bank here, we do have some power outages reported around Marrero, it looks like, and maybe over towards Gretna as well, and Harvey, so right in there where you're seeing the red. A lot of out towards, again, let me get my Belle Chase. Yeah, Belle Chase is reporting power outages, and I'm not even sure the worst of the storm's even gotten to that point. So, yeah, we are seeing power outages reported across the area. Let's go back to radar very quickly because it is moving. This is the good news. It's moving, but it's causing so many problems as it's intensified right over the New Orleans metro here, with the winds now gusting upwards of about 60 miles per hour. So if you do lose power, and it's a good idea to have us streaming on your phone. You can watch us there. If you lose us on television, you can watch us on WWL Plus, but your best bet is going to be streaming us somewhere if you do lose that power. Now, if we go back to our velocity radar and check in on this, you're seeing this substantial burst of winds here, this severe thunderstorm warnings producing these strong winds across the metro area. Just getting a query on these very quickly. Velocity estimated somewhere between 50 and 60 miles an hour more than likely. Now this radar beam is shooting a little bit up into the storm, but I think a lot of this is reaching the ground here. So the worst of the winds just now moving into Gentilly, moving into the Quarter, the Marigny, the Bywater's up next. New Orleans East, the worst hasn't quite got to you, but it will be moving in very, very soon as this severe thunderstorm continues to advance across the metro area. Alexa, how are we doing right now? Any updates?
Do have that flash flood warning in effect for the South Shore. So neutral ground parking is allowed. Just a reminder, we did get a text from the city. The neutral ground parking is allowed. I know it's coming down really hard right now. It'd be a problem to go out and move the car. But if you have not moved your vehicle just yet and you feel like you can, I would do so because of the heavy rainfall rates that we are seeing across the city of New Orleans and the South Shore, with this big storm dumping anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of rain in an hour. So seriously heavy rain happening, in addition to the very strong wind gusts. We've got the flash flood warning in green, and we've got the severe thunderstorm warning in yellow. So we're taking a live look outside. You can obviously see how hard the rain is coming down on our live camera, and I'll switch it over to Max 2 so you can see what we're looking at on radar, so you can pinpoint where you're at this morning. Hopefully you're in a safe place, waiting out the commute for the morning time frame and letting this storm pass by. Like we were talking about, the storm does have some movement to it. So even though it is dumping a ton of rain across the city and across the South Shore, the storm is moving itself. We are taking a live look outside right now. Where are we looking at right now? Mandeville. Okay, on the North Shore, it is a bit quieter north of the lake. The worst of the weather is happening on the South Shore now. If we could take a look at radar again to show you just where the storms are the worst. And it's happening across the causeway, across Lake Pontchartrain. You can see on the North Shore, it's just light to moderate rain. But the strong storms are happening across the New Orleans metro, and that's where we're seeing the worst of the rain, the worst of the wind, and the worst of the lightning at this point. That's where the severe thunderstorm warning is and the flash flood warning is from the city of New Orleans down to Belle Chase. So both sides of the river will zoom in even more. Kenner to Metairie to over to City Park through uptown New Orleans. That is where the heavy downpours are happening now and the very strong wind gusts. And we were showing you that feature before of the winds, and I can show you just what it's looking like at this point. The velocity anywhere from 40 to 50 mile per hour winds coming in there with this storm. So that is some strong winds, could knock out some power. And we're actually getting some power flashes here in the French Quarter on our studio, or at our studio. We've got some power flashes. You know, we're still good on power, but you can see just how powerful these storms are coming in right now. So here's a live look outside. If we could switch over to our live camera on Bourbon Street to see just how hard that rain is coming down. I know we're switching back and forth, but we wanted to show you kind of a good picture about what is going to happen. We're going to switch over now to on Bourbon Street, to show you just how hard that rain is coming down across the French Quarter. Oh no, now we're looking at our tower cam. Sorry, I'm kind of discombobulated, looking all over the place. I'm going to pass it over to Peyton, looking at different monitors here.
Max 1. Yeah, if we could go to Max 1, or our weather source control room. This is a live view of what Bourbon Street looks like right now. Of course, torrential rain falling across the area. I see we've got a live shot up here. We've got a reporter out on Rampart Street right now, and it is coming down. So we've had multiple power flashes across the New Orleans metro, or in the French Quarter. The winds are blowing right now. You can see just how high the rainfall rates are. So this is why we have that flash flood warning ongoing right now, because the rainfall rates are approaching 3 to 5 inches in an hour. Now, this is moving, which is good, but in the meantime, it is going to be coming down hard and heavy. The other problem are those winds. The winds have been gusting. Radar is estimating up to about 60 miles an hour, which is why I think we're seeing some power flashes here in the French Quarter. So if you are just joining us this morning, it is 9:23. We have 2 warnings, a severe thunderstorm warning for New Orleans Parish, and down into eastern St. Bernard, we have a flash flood warning for the entire metro area here. And this is the core of the worst of the storm, right over the heart of New Orleans, down towards the West Bank and Algiers, and down towards parts of Rampart. We've got Rachel Hanley live in the French Quarter, where we have seen our power flash a few times. Rachel, what are the winds looking like out there right now?
They're looking very strong, and it is really impressive how quickly this went from us saying that there was almost no rain at all to now there is a pretty strong storm behind us. Just a few minutes before we got this shot up, a big gust of wind hit us, and that is so much stronger than anything else we saw this morning. As you can see right here, the rain is coming down very, very hard. We're already starting to see some pool along the side of the street. We've been talking about the threat of street flooding all morning, looking at underpass reports, looking at street flooding reports. And we said this morning was not too bad, but we were keeping an eye on the rest of the day to make sure that we were ready in case these stronger storms did create any kind of flooding. And as we can see right now, it looks like that is already starting to happen to to some extent on North Rampart right now, which again, this rain only started, what, 10 minutes ago, compared to all morning when we were barely even seeing a sprinkle. So conditions have changed very, very quickly here. Hopefully, if it doesn't last for too long, we'll see some of this water that's pooled start to go down and we won't deal with any kind of major street flooding. But we're going to be keeping an eye on the South Shore just to make sure that we're not missing any closed underpasses, missing any major street flooding. As you can see right now, if you have a choice, definitely stay home. You do not want to be out in these conditions right now, especially, see this is the wind that we're talking about. We're under a balcony right now, and it's really not even doing that much. That's how strong this storm has gotten. What I was saying was, if you are able to stay home right now, you know, do as I say, not as I do, because of that. So, yeah, sending it back to you, Peyton.
Thanks,
definitely conditions have taken a turn for the worst out here for sure.
Yeah, go get inside and we'll just take the shot here and we'll keep you safe this morning. But you can see just the torrential rain, guys, that's coming down. Now, here's when the worst of the rain will start to wind down across the area. I think by 9:35, so in the next 10 minutes, we'll probably start to see the rain slack off uptown, probably closer to 9:40 here in the quarter. So we probably have a solid another 15 minutes of heavy, heavy rain. Now, the worst of the winds are not going to be during the entire time. It's going to come in gusts, and there's going to be a core of those strong winds. Luckily, we've got our high definition terminal radar, and so right now it's clocking the worst winds out near Chalmette, Violet, Poydras. So we're talking in St. Bernard Parish and moving out into eastern parts of towards Lake Borgne. Now, if you're out in New Orleans East, I also think we're seeing some strong winds where they could be up to 40 to 50, but it looks like this core of more damaging winds, that's going to be closer to Chalmette and down the highway there to Poydras. Next up would be areas like Shell Beach, Wyclowski, Hopedale. These are all elevated houses out here, so really be in a sturdy structure as these do blow through. You shouldn't be in a trailer or anything like that. 60-mile-an-hour winds can really do a number on these types of things, but that's the worst core of the damaging winds. Behind it, we're still getting wind gusts probably 30 to 40 miles an hour, but things are going to be winding down more than likely here in the next 20 minutes. Alexa?
Some reports of street flooding across parts of the city from Streetwise, so I do want to report that there is some street flooding happening across Earhart Boulevard and US 90 eastbound. That is one area where we are seeing some street flooding along Earhart Boulevard and US 90. Also on Calliope Street and Simon Boulevard. That's where we're also seeing some potential flooding this morning. So we've got some heavy rain and some street flooding. Those typical spots that flood will certainly see water adding up this morning. So make sure you can delay your travel, stay at home, wait this storm out because of how heavy the rainfall rates are. It's really going to be impacting our roadways this morning. So make sure you take it easy if you do have to get out and about this morning. Now, I did want to switch it over so you can get a better idea of what's happening on radar on Max 2, just a closer look at those storms, just to give you an idea of just how quickly that this is moving by. Even though the rain is torrential, the storm itself is starting to make its progress eastward through the metro area. So Jefferson Parish, places like Kenner, seeing the rain starting to slacken off just ever so slightly. Metairie still dealing with some heavier downpours, but the storm itself is pushing off to the east, so rainfall rates will start to kind of relax and ease in Metairie in the next several minutes, but still talking very heavy rain across the city of New Orleans through Chalmette and towards the West Bank, over across the West Bank towards Belle Chase, and even farther down into the deeper parts of our bayou parishes now. So the storm itself continuing to race eastward, some seriously heavy rain happening across Lake Pontchartrain. The storm itself is headed towards Slidell now. So Slidell about to get in on some heavy rain and gusty winds within the next several minutes. I did want to toss it over to Brandon.
Yeah, Alexa, thank you. Thank you to you and Peyton who've kept us informed here on this system as it moves through. You can probably hear the rain quite heavily pelting on our roof here in the French Quarter. You saw Rachel out with the wind, and that is affecting power throughout our area. We're seeing a high concentration of outages right now on the West Bank as we take a live look right now at Entergy's outage map. As we do zero into parts of the West Bank, you can see that the outages do continue to concentrate there. Looking at at it parish by parish. Over in Jefferson Parish, they are dealing with a lot. 6,500 reported outages in Jefferson Parish at this hour as officials deal with some heavy rain, the heaviest we've seen all morning now, even overnight. Orleans Parish, not too far behind it. They're at 5,067 at the moment. Other parts of our area as it continues to go up, and again, this is a live look, so if the numbers do go up, they're going to go up, but I'm going to keep walking through them here. Looking at other parishes throughout the area, we've got Plaquemines Parish looking all right now with 73 outages, but a lot of those outages right now in the Plaquemines area at Belle Chase. Overall, statewide, we're looking at some 19,000 outages. Again, many of them concentrated right now on the west bank of Jefferson and Orleans parishes, where you can see things are pretty red there on the grid amidst the heavy wind that we've been dealing with. Some reports of gusts of 30 miles per hour, and you saw what that meant in Rachel Hanley's live shot a few minutes ago. Looking around to other parts of our area, things are looking really good right now. And as the information does continue to come in, we're looking at road conditions. NOLA Streetwise reporting some flooding in some areas. Also, traffic conditions a nightmare here at 9:31. Let's get over to traffic anchor Leah McNeil. She's got the very latest there.
Well, Brandon, we are seeing continued reports of street flooding across the metro area. We did get some reports from NOLA Streetwise, but we are seeing additional reports. We do have that flooding at Clearview Parkway. This is affecting both directions of traffic this morning, right where Clearview Parkway meets Jefferson Highway and Citrus Boulevard. That is completely flooded out if you are going to be in that stretch of Jefferson Parish. Also, some reports of flooding in Earhart, both directions at South Claiborne East. Additional reports of flooding are coming in as well at Calliope, affecting both directions of traffic, and Loyola at Simon Boulevard. Again, this is because of that flood watch. We're seeing that heavy rain move across the area right now. See that rain on our radar. While those rate speeds are green, some spots are in yellow. You still want to play it safe this morning. If we do switch over to our cameras with a live look at I-610 at City Park, we are seeing a lot of that water pooling on the roads as cars plow through the roadways. Our cameras at I-610 at City Park, still seeing those cars riding out and about right now. You can see the signs off the side of the road that say wipers on, lights on. It's the law. Definitely some sound advice you want to take if you do have to be out and about on the roads right now. Good news, we haven't seen any reports of any accidents on the roads. Let's try and keep it that way. If you do encounter any of this flooding, of course, turn around, don't drown. That's the golden rule that always sticks whenever we are talking about the severe weather. So let's go ahead and send it back over to Brandon to kind of give us the latest. I mean, Brandon, this is something we've been anticipating all morning, but as Rachel mentioned, it kind of came on very quickly. On that note, let's go ahead and send it back over to Peyton.
Thanks, Leah. Yeah, we got full coverage here of these severe storms as they blow through. Now, the power outages continue where we did see the worst of the winds. Now, where are the worst winds right now? It looks like they're really starting to move into parts of eastern St. Bernard. And I don't know if we could switch over to Max 1 really quick there, Alexa. Thank you. This is the live view of Bourbon Street. We are seeing things start to improve here in Jefferson and in Orleans, where the intensity of the rain's coming down, but also the strongest of the winds have now passed by the metro. So this is what it looks like on radar. Currently, that severe threat is going to be highest now in eastern St. Bernard. So if you're watching us down in Royal Parts, closer to maybe just to the east of Chalmette, this isn't a very populated area. It's actually north of Wyclowski and Hopedale, which is here. That corridor is where this traveled, where we have all the power outages from Marrero, Harvey, Algiers, Chalmette. This is the corridor where we're seeing the most power outages, and that corresponds to where radar is picking up on the strongest winds, probably close to 60 miles an hour as those winds blew in. So these are about to be in Lake Borgne. You cannot be out on a boat in Lake Borgne right now. If you know someone out there, try to get them off of it immediately, because this is dangerous as this moves out over water. You're talking hurricane force winds moving out over the water, and near hurricane force winds, more like tropical storm as these move on out. So the worst of the winds are now past the immediate New Orleans area. What else we're watching is if you are on the North Shore keeping an eye on things, the intensity of the rain has picked up over the lake and we'll be moving into Slidell soon. Now, if you're in Slidell, you're on the northern side of this severe thunderstorm, and so a lot of this is just rain. That's probably a little hail as well, with some gusty winds that are going to be approaching the twin spans within the next 5 to 10 minutes. So not a good idea to be on the twin spans right now. The causeway will improve here as we go through the next 10 minutes, and I-55, you've just got a light rain out there. So it's improving from west to east as this storm is, thank goodness it is moving, because if this was sitting over us, oh my gosh, the problems we would have. The rainfall rates in this have been tremendous. You know, all morning long we were watching rainfall rates that were close to a maximum an inch an hour, which is not hardly any problem for us. But with this band of rain, we've been watching 4 to 6 inches in an hour. And that's a lot of rain in a short amount of time. I mean, 2 to 4 inches in an hour is nearly 1 to 2 inches in just 15 minutes. So this really blew on through and dropped heavy rain and strong winds, but the worst of it's now moving out past New Orleans East. Still raining good out once you get to the high rise and out through New Orleans East, but it'll continue to march east here out towards Venetian Isles. You're up next. The Lake Bourne area is about to get the heavy rain and strong winds too, but you can see the intensity of the rain has really come down across Kenner and Metairie as it's moved on to the east. Been moving at about 40 miles an hour, Alexa. But yeah, definitely rocking and rolling this morning as these strong winds and this storm, it intensified so quickly. And we're still on storm watch as we go through the rest of the morning.
There has actually been a recent report of a 55 mile per hour gust. So a 55 mile per hour wind gusts at the New Orleans Lakefront Airport. So we can see those strong winds are, reaching the ground from the storm. So there could be some, minor damage from these stronger winds, maybe some branches down in a few spots. Of course, we've got the power outages. We've got wind gusts reported over 50 miles per hour across parts of the metro area. So that's what we're dealing with this morning. Like, the only good thing we've been mentioning, though, that we've been kind of focusing on is just how quickly this storm has been blowing through the metro area. So the rainfall is still very intense. The strong winds are still with us for parts of the eastern really side of this storm. So New Orleans East, St. Bernard Parish seeing the stronger winds within this storm, and there's still quite a bit of lightning within this thunderstorm as well. Maybe even some small hail falling out of it. But the biggest thing is just how heavy the rain is coming down, and those brief gusty winds certainly something to watch for. So driving conditions certainly not good across the Twin Span now. We've got heavy rain moving into Slidell now as well, and some lightning moving into St. Tammany Parish along Interstate 12. So some heavy rain and stronger winds, briefly gusting probably up to 30 miles per hour or so for St. Tammany Parish as the storm moves off the lake towards Slidell and along I-12 and along I-59 shortly. So that's where we're looking at right now. If we can take a look at radar on Max 2, just to get you an idea of where the heaviest of the showers and storms are happening across the metro area. If we zoom in closely at this storm, the rain is starting to let up quite a bit across Metairie, across parts of Jefferson Parish, across Kenner. Kenner now, we just have some lighter showers happening now. So we'll be continuing to monitor this storm. We'll be sending it over to Brandon now to give us a final report.
Thank you, Alexa, and thank you for staying with us throughout the morning. Our team has been following the weather, the changes that we've seen, and we will continue to do that on this weather impact alert all day and how this is impacting us. Want to check one more time with the Entergy power outage map. We told you about the number of people throughout our area dealing with outages, a significant concentration. You see it on the west bank of the Mississippi and parts of Orleans and Jefferson parishes as we do zero in right now to take a look at those numbers currently. Officials telling us that those heavy winds that Alexa was telling us about are doing a number there to the system, so it's just to be expected. Looking at Jefferson Parish this morning, those numbers are going up. Some 10,713 customers, according to Entergy, without power right now. Over in Orleans Parish, that number stands at 6,227. Other parishes in the area dealing with this too. Over in St. John Parish, there were some delays to transport, getting folks into school, but they had dealt with some significant power outages overnight, so some people were dealing with that. But crews have done a pretty good job at working to get the lights turned on there. A lot of our focus as far as the outages are concerned in both Orleans and Jefferson parishes right now. Jefferson Parish, again, some 10,000 people without power. Y'all saw that live shot from Rachel a few minutes ago with the wind, the lightning, the rain. You saw the radar. It is red in most of metropolitan New Orleans right now. So the best bet is to shelter in place if you can. Also, stay with WWL, WWLTV.com, and WWL Plus as we keep you in the loop at what's going on. Of course, we'll be live on the news at noon, but every 30 minutes on WWL Plus, Peyton, Alexa, also Alexandra. The weather team is here to keep you up to speed, breaking in with that storm as it moves in throughout southeastern Louisiana. I'm Brandon Walker. Good morning from all of us here at WWL.
This has been a severe weather alert from WWL Weather, sponsored by Egan Insurance Agency.